Now then, and welcome back to Out to Grass with me, Colin, and to today's video, which isn't the video I thought I was going to be making. I was planning on today editing some footage from camping 3 days in our big family tent, a music festival with my son Luke, a bluegrass festival. He's right into all that, and I like going. I went to 5 festivals with him last year, and even though I might not be the most huge, passionate fan of bluegrass, I had a great time. Anyway, I was meant to be there this weekend, just gone. 3 nights in the big family tent. I thought that'd be good because the footage I'll be able to get as kind of like a casual fan, enjoying it, but not like, oh, I must see this. It might be fun. There's always plenty of drink flying around, and yeah, that was the plan. But unfortunately, since I did the A66 video, and thank you so much for all the positive feedback I've had about that, it's been amazing. If you've liked, subscribed, replied, spoke to me in person or messaged or whatever, honestly, it means a lot. I loved it. I mean, that video was like a daft, thinking, 20 or 30 of my mates might watch it, 40 tops, and wow, I know 400 people's not many in the world of YouTube, but for me personally, that was class. I absolutely loved it, buzzing off that. So anyway, since that, I haven't been very well. I never really got over. We watched the video, I say I'm quite breathless and coffee in the morning, and that didn't really go away. Now, sometimes that's because I've overexerted myself, or sometimes, obviously, in this case, what I think it might be, there's 2 or 3 people in my sort of circle of people that are connected with me have had this virus where they've got breathless and coughing. So I'm really hoping it's that and not my lung disease getting worse. So what I thought I would do is, not in massive detail because I'm sure you don't want that, but just maybe use this opportunity to talk to you briefly about the lung disease I've got, about chronic ILD, interstitial lung disease, which is what I've got. I absolutely don't want to like gross you out or put people off. The last thing I want is people like, oh, unsubscribe, boring, or not interested, or whatever. But hear me out. I'm thinking, like, for context of, I can't, like, hey, I've got 1,000 subscribers, I said I'd climb up Skiddaw. Like, not going to happen really. Oh, I don't know, it'd be very, very slow and I won't be at camp at the top. So I thought I'll have a little talk so you briefly understand what my health limitations are, and maybe if there's someone in your life who's got a chronic illness, and in particular interstitial lung disease, maybe my experience will reflect theirs and maybe it won't. So that's it. Please don't think I'm going to make this a morbid channel, whining on, because that's not what I want it to be. I want it to be about celebrating life, having fun, making the best out of what I've got, and yeah, so that's the target. So I'm going to chat a bit today about ILD, about my experience with ILD. I'll briefly talk about how I got diagnosed, and what it physically means and what treatments I'm on. So I'll do all that. But I'll tell you what I'll do first, give you a little bit of footage of where I'm walking, which is the railway path that goes from like Barnard Castle up to Middleton. Possibly goes further than Middleton, but that's the first I've ever walked it. And so I'll show you where I am. I'll catch you in a bit. What an absolute... So yeah, part 1, diagnosis. I've always been quite an active guy. Always loved cycling, was my big passion, but also walking. And I found myself, I don't know, I'm going to say a year and a half ago, something like that, finding myself into sort of coughing fits and struggling for breath on efforts that I didn't think I should. If I ever even walked up a hill, I'd have a coughing fit, and because I've often used to get reflux, just kept putting it down to that. But then eventually I just thought it's too much, I'd better get it checked out. So it did take a long time, but I'm not going to slate the NHS because they've been absolutely brilliant over this. And long story short, when I was first diagnosed, which isn't what I've got now, when I was first diagnosed, a consultant told me, and she was fabulous, I can't fault Wendy Funston at all, absolutely brilliant consultant. I'd had the letter to say that I had idiopathic fibrosis, and she said, "Oh, have you googled it?" I said, "Yeah, I have. It says 3 to 5 years life expectancy." And she sort of nodded and was like, "Yeah." So that was a tough day. There is newer medications now which they're so new that they're not really sure how much they're going to extend that period by, but they feel confident it does extend that period. They're pretty expensive medications, so they must work. So that's what I'm on. But even then, if it had stayed with idiopathic, I wouldn't have been in a good place. So thankfully, probably not many people would say they were glad to get a diagnosis of what I have got, which is connective tissue disease. And what that is where your body's immune system is too active and it attacks your own body. Excuse me. And one of the things it likes attacking is your lungs. So my own immune system attacks my lungs. It thinks they're a foreign invader, and so now I'm on medication to suppress my immune system, which, as you can imagine, comes with its own issues, not least of which is the side effects. But it dampens my immune system down, so it slows down my immune system attacking my lungs. So I'm on that, and that gives me stomach-related side effects, let's just say that. And then the other medication I'm on is the really expensive one, and that's an anti-fibrosis medication, and that's the one that sort of inhibits the forming of the fibrosis. Which, what fibrosis is, it's scarring on your lungs. So where your lungs get scarred, they don't work anymore. A bit like if you get a scar on your head and hair doesn't grow there anymore. So yeah, anywhere that there is fibrosis, your lungs are scarred, they won't work anymore, and they won't ever recover. So it never gets any better. There's no cure. And that's where I am. But because it's now connective tissue disease, the 3 to 5 years sort of expectancy is off the table, was the consultant's words. So they don't know how long I've got. Could be shorter still, could be longer. It's a brand new medication, they don't know how effective it's going to be. But that's what I'm on. The anti-fibrosis medication also has the stomach related side effects, believe me. And I've certainly, I'm going to say every hour of every day aware of that. But I'm on my life lengthened, so that's good. So that's how I got diagnosed. Kept getting breathless and coughing over what seemed to be not particularly heavy exertion. Came back from just having a shower breathless on a morning. And the other one is crackles. If you can hear crackles when you're breathing, that's a telltale sign. So if you can hear crackles when you're breathing, get that checked out by your GP sooner rather than later. So yeah, and so that's diagnosis and treatment really covered. What I'll do is let's have a little bit look more what we can see, and then I'll come back in a bit and talk about living with it. Never seen one do it yet. it's the busy road. I must have timed it just right. And yeah, day to day, I've got to walk slower than I ever have. I suppose you could say I was lucky in that I had quite an active lifestyle, so because I used to do a lot of walking and cycling, the coughing issue was brought out quicker and caught quicker, but it still doesn't feel any better. I don't feel that lucky, but you know, I'm still alive. I'm 57. Some people don't even get that. So yeah, walk slow. Small efforts can seem massive. The side effects, stomach problems, can definitely impact on your plans. Every plan I've ever got, I'm thinking, I hope my stomach holds out. So that's not nice. But listen, what this channel about, the reason I started doing this channel is to kind of like embrace life, make the most of what I've got left, have fun, document that fun. Hopefully it'll be either interesting or it'll connect with someone else with a chronic health disorder, potentially. So that's the idea of it, really. Yeah, so stairs, for example, going up hills is a massive, massive ask for me. If I'm in a hotel with no lift, if I'm on the 3rd floor, I need a break between the 1st and the 3rd. So I'd love, love, love to walk up a big hill in the lakes, but I don't know if that's going to be doable. I have got a little plan to try it, but I'm not sure. So yeah, breathless, coughing when I get breathless, embarrassing. I often have to clear my throat and sort of hockle up, which is very embarrassing, which is why I like walking on my own. And yes, quite often secretly sat in discomfort and fighting for breath, trying to smile your way through it. But hey, listen, I'm still here, like I say. And that whole mortality thing, we all trot through life saying, oh, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. None of us know how long we've got left. When you sat across from a doctor, put his hand on your shoulder, telling you he's sorry, and a consultant confirming 3 to 5 years to live, we think, suddenly you realise that actually will be an end point. And it's kind of hard to get that across to people who aren't in that situation, because my personal thought is, we all see it, but we kind of think it applies to everyone else. Like, you all might not get to 70 or 80, but obviously I will. So yeah, it changes your outlook on life, but in some ways for the better, because I probably would have never done that while camping, and I had the best time. Absolute balls, it was fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, is that the video? I think it is. Thanks for watching. As I say, just felt so good the amount of people who watched the last one. I just love it. I look on it every day to see if there's been another watcher, and it makes me smile when there is, and then someone comments, I'm like, oh. So yeah, I will be making more. Hopefully there'll be a bit dafter adventures like the last one, but for now, stay tuned, find out what the next adventure is, who knows, and I'll catch you later.
3 hours later.
Stealth camping in a hospital. The ultimate. Now then, just checking in. I am safe, I am home, I'm okay, but yeah, at the end of that walk that you've just watched there, I mean, I was okay for most of it. I'd been all week where my breathing wasn't as good as it has been. But towards the very last stages, after I'd already finished doing all the filming I wanted to do, I was just walking home. I really took quite a bad turn, really. And I'm struggling to stand up. Anyway, I rang 111. They advised that I should go to my local hospital, my local A&E, which I did. They checked me out and found that I've had a chest infection. I've still got it. And so hopefully that explains why I've been a lot more short of breath over the last week or so. And so fingers crossed, as I say, that'll they kept me in overnight. They put me on a drip of antibiotics and a drip of saline because I was dehydrated, my blood pressure kept dropping as well. So that enabled me to do the world's stealthiest camp inside an actual hospital. They kept me in overnight, kept an eye on me, observed me there. But I'm home now, I'm looking after myself, I've wrapped myself up, I'm resting up, I've got a week's worth of antibiotics as well. So that should hopefully bring me round, get me back to as close to fighting fit as I ever get. And I should be ready to do some more daft adventures in the very near future. So yeah, catch you later.